I'm changing out my Polaris Ranger 900 XP belt. I've burned it a little bit. I've got it wet, everything else. I'm planning a trip, so I want to make sure it's good. I'm gonna kind of do this video in real time. I haven't changed a belt before, so that way you'll be able to see what kind of issues I run into and just kind of real-time problems. I may speed it up a little bit so you can see what's going on, but at least you can know what it takes to get this done. So first thing I'm going to do, I've got my impact. I'm going to go ahead and remove this air box. Everything on here is dirty, so I got a lot of sand running around. Let's see, that looks like it's about a 10 millimeters. Yep. Pull that out. Bolts in there. So I got this air box hose loose here. I'm just gonna wiggle it out and pop it off. I probably didn't have to pop that side. Probably just pop this side out and flip it up. Let's see if I can reach it easier from underneath. Yep. So I've got that hose disconnected that runs up into the sides. See what it takes to kind of wiggle this out of here. Actually, if I'll pull that out, I'll probably just drop it right on the bottom. Yep. So, and being that that's in the way, I'm going to go ahead and pull that third hose off too. A lot easier to just drop that out of the bottom like I just did. And now I can wiggle it back into place. Nut driver would probably be a little bit better in that situation than a flathead screwdriver, but it'll be alright. So that hose is completely out now. Or the air box. The hose is off, air box is out. Tuck this hose up out of the way. The bolts on there look like they're about an 8 millimeter. Yep, that's exactly what they are. So I'm gonna go ahead, take all these screws off of this. Can't reach that one with my impact. Those are further under there, so it looks like it'd be better if I had an extension for that. So let me go run and get an extension. So other than my little impact and my sockets that fit this, I didn't prepare any other tools. Like I said, I've never done this before, so I don't know what tools it takes to get this apart and replaced. So we're going to find out together here. Still a little short for that one. underneath are a little hard to reach. And I just dropped it. So I'll have to find that before I put it back together. Maybe we'll put that in an angle and get it out. That is it to get this cover off. So, see what it takes to wiggle this out. This may be the hardest part. So I'm looking at it, and down here I've got a Zerk fitting, which is probably going to be a 10mm. I'm probably going to have to remove that to get the box over the top of it. So I grabbed a 10mm wrench. I'll see if that fits. It does not, so that's probably going to be a 9. So I grabbed both a 9 and an 8mm just in case to see. There's my 8. 8 is definitely too small. And the 9mm is too small. So that may be a standard size fitting. Before I keep telling you what sizes it may be, let me see what actually fits. It's going to be a 3/8. Zerk fitting is a 3/8 Zerk fitting. Alright, I'm going to put that to the side, see if I can get that box out now. And that was all it took right there. So you can see inside here I've got a little bit of dust and dirt, and then I've got some belt dust. My hands are already dirty because I did some axle work earlier. But looking at my belt, trying to see if it looks like I got much wear. It's really hard to tell looking at this right here. I do have a good bit of dirt inside that, so I'm assuming some of that is from just running around and sucking dirt in through the cooling section of this up in the top. Now I've got to figure out, how do I get the belt off? So some of these have fittings that you put in and pry them apart, and I'm not sure what the best way is for this. So give me a couple minutes, I'm gonna look and see so I don't tear something up, and I will get right back to you and let you know how that belt comes off of those right there. All right, so what I've got to do at this point is I've got to remove this here. Something else I'm gonna need is some brake cleaner and a Scotch-Brite pad, so I'm gonna grab those real quick. That bolt looks like it's probably about a 17 millimeter, so I'll grab that too to check. It's 15. I had it sitting here just to be sure. Nope, it's a 15, so I was completely wrong. Let me go ahead and back that off, and I can get this belt out of here. So I'm gonna take that bolt completely out, mainly because I want to pull all this off so I can get it clean and check on it. So, and it's stuck. All right, and I have had that washer pop out. Bolt out of there. Alright, my belt, I have definitely smoked it a few times. I've got a lot of angle in this, so you probably can't see it in the video, but if I put a straight edge up against this, it is not going to be straight. So definitely some glazing and shininess around the edges. Outside of that, I will save it as a spare for an emergency. So I had to pause it for a minute to run in the house and go get some groceries in and everything. But going back, looking at the belts, I said that this belt had a bevel on it. The new one does too, so that's really not that out of the ordinary. The curvature where I burned the belt kind of curves in these areas a little bit, and you can see some damage and where the rubber is actually curled up on these edges, probably from where it's overheated. I'm not exactly sure, but so I've got my old belt and my new belt, and what I'll do on here is I'll actually put Polaris where I can read it from the top. So I'm gonna put this up here for a minute, throw the old belt to the side, and I'm gonna take some brake cleaner and I'm gonna clean these up through here. That way what I can do is get rid of any residue, stickiness, anything like that from the belt. So I'm gonna spray some brake cleaner on that and spray some brake cleaner on this pad. Just kind of scrub everything out of it. See if we can find me some paper towels. How much scrubbing I really need to do, but I don't see or feel residue running my fingers across it, so it probably doesn't need a lot. Wipe that clean. I also got this inside, it's got a little washer in there, so make sure you don't flip that washer off and put this up here so it doesn't fall. I'm gonna do the same thing with this. clean any belt dust off of it, and then I'll go in for a scrub. This one has more of a line down in on it than the other one does, so. I really can't feel it on here. Either that or I've already scrubbed it relatively clean. Try to clean the rest of that dust back off. And I'll spray it one more time. You probably shouldn't use brake cleaner with bare hands, but I do it anyway. So on this one, where these two go together, they're supposed to be, I got an X here on that side. There should be an X on the back side of this. Those X's have to line up. So this sits in, rolls, so I got an X here. X is directly opposite on that back side, so X and X. So now I can go ahead and feed this back on. Get my bolt started. And then I'm gonna actually take this and clean up the inside of this one too, so if I can. A little bit harder to get in there and clean that up, but turn it and clean it as you turn it. Don't forget to get that back side also. And don't hit your head on the bed of your side by side. So I don't know if I did a great job on that, but I mean, running my fingers up in there and feeling it, none of it feels bad. So I did clean it out some, but it's about the best I can get. Just check that foam gasket around this edge. This one place a lot of people get water up in here, so we got a lot of water in our area, especially where we ride Osceola and stuff like that, and try to keep that water out of that belt box if I can. So the only other thing I really need to do up in here is find that screw I dropped. Could be about impossible. It's in there, and I'll dig it out. There's one. I can feel it. I think I got one more in there that fell out also. Let's see, I got 7. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm missing one more. I think fell down in here somewhere. Nope, sitting on the ground. So there's my 8th one. So I got all those back. So now I got to get the belt on there. Like I said, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take where it says Polaris here. I'm gonna put my Polaris so it's facing up. So I'll feed this in over this here. And then I got a little bit of space in this. So I'm gonna take this just like you would a bicycle chain. Stuff it up inside that. Kind of roll it forward. And that's in. So the biggest thing I got to do now is tighten this down. So I'm gonna take my impact. I'm gonna go in a little easy. And then I'll that's pretty loose right now. It's probably normal. I'm gonna get my torque wrench, and this torque's about 43 foot-pounds. So I'll put the transmission in drive. Pause my recording real quick so I can run in and get one of the kids to hold the brakes for me, and then I'll torque that down. Alright, so I went and got my daughter, got her sitting in there holding the brake. I grabbed a torque adapter, my 15mm. So what I'll do is I'll put that on here and go ahead and see what I can get done. Spring back and forth, which is kind of a weird feeling. Alright, so now after I was interrupted again, got my torque adapter. I'm going to throw my torque adapter on here. I'm looking for 42 foot-pounds of torque. I'm going to hold that. Nothing goes right. Can't hold it. That tries to turn backwards. Not sure how I'm supposed to hold that plate still because the brakes ain't doing it. Am I in drive? What do you mean, which one's the brake? Oh, the big one you're standing on. Good Lord. Hold that brake tighter. Alright. And that is torqued back together. So now pretty much what I'll do is I'll put that box back together. Make sure everything's sealed up good. And as you can see, nothing ever goes without its issues. That's one of the reasons I did this in real time. So my next step is looking inside this box. I got some dirt in it, a little bit of sand. I'm just going to shake that sand out, see if I can position this back in place. You were good. If you want to get out and go back to what you're doing, I've got this done. Nothing's perfect. I'm not a professional. I just wanted to come in here and get my belt swapped out. So I'm going to get these started in slow and easy. I'm actually going to finish them by hand. I'm not going to crank them down with that. These plastic boxes are so flimsy. That's more than I expected to do. All right, another interruption. And I mean, it's just life. We got stuff going on. Everybody got things they need to do. So they come out and check to see if I need help or whatever. So, and And I drop another one of those screws. And the dog's barking. So it's just never ending. Let's see if I can get up under this one underneath. Start that by hand just a little bit. I think I'll hold more. Back just a hair bit. It's actually easier to go between that little frame support, really. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Twist it by hand just a little bit to get it started. Last one right here. If I can get it to go in the direction it's supposed to. And I will go get me a nut driver for that one. So that's pretty much the belt. I got a few more minutes of putting this air box together. I'm just kind of touching everything up a little bit. So I'm gonna shut the video off, go get something to eat, and I'll be back and continue when I finish. Alright, so I am back again, and where I left off, I had this one screw over here I couldn't get good with the little impact in there, so I'm going to tighten that up by hand. The other thing I wanted to do, I didn't want to over tighten these and strip those out, so I'm just going to snug them up with a ratchet. That way I can feel how much tension is on it, instead of stripping up that plastic. Going through making sure I got all those put in. See if I can get this one underneath here because it's kind of under there. Not a good place to get your hand inside that. Got it started. Let's see if I can see it with my ratchet on it. Snugged up. On there. Snugged up. So they're all feeling pretty good. Alright, so the next step is for me to put my air box back in. Just set the air box back here behind me. Easy way to get it in there was from the bottom up. So feed it up here and see if I can go ahead and set it in these brackets. Pull this hose back off. I missed the bracket on the front. Working all this stuff around, get it in the right place. Kind of show you where I'm struggling here. Has this little tab on the air box that has to go under this bracket over here. Hopefully it shows that back in here. There's a little metal bracket up on this. So trying to get that up in place at the same time, get everything else in where it's supposed to go. And that time I pull it out, start over. Sometimes it's best to just back out, give yourself a little break, put everything back together, and that slid right in place. So I'm gonna grab my impact again. Got my 10mm. And my daughter held the brakes in here for me. She climbed across all my bolts and everything. Now they are all missing. So back to the fact that none of this goes perfect. I'm not a professional. I don't have one of the big fancy shops that they've got on the online videos or whatever. This is just real life. So come up here and dig some apart. Now I've got them. I don't think any of these need to be just cranked down or anything crazy. Let's start those by hand so you don't end up cross threading them. Slide that back so it lines up good. Box is tight. Go right here. Make sure you tighten them hose clamps down, keep dust, dirt, and water out of them. Probably also do this with a 5/16 nut driver if you have one instead of a flathead screwdriver. I just did not walk back to my toolbox to grab my nut driver. Got this other vent hose on the back side of the air box over here. Up. Pop this wire back in for the spark plug that I knocked out. And then reach up under here, put my vent hose on the front of the box. Flip it up so I can tighten it down properly. And the last piece that I did not forget about is the Zerk fitting. It goes back to the A-arm. I'm gonna get that started back in by hand. carefully. And I will tighten it up. Without tearing it up. So those are hollow. If you over tighten them, you can break them off, then you end up in a little bit of trouble. You usually get them back out, but so I'm not going to edit this video. You'll get to see all the flaws. You get to see the things where I messed up. I haven't done a belt before, so none of it's going to be perfect. I will have a couple start and stop where I got interrupted or I had distractions, other things I had to go do. But for as far as actual work time, this video is going to be minute to minute. So feel free to critique. Feel free to tell me what I did wrong, what I could have done better. But this is just a real life non-shop scenario where I come out here and just have to kind of learn on the fly how to put it together and get it done without tearing things up. So I think it was successful. Now I have to get it out and go through belt break-in. So I'll probably bring you another video showing belt break-in. Questions, comments, like I said, feel free to tell me what I did wrong. Give me tips, pointers, advice. This is my first time. Yeah, I'll be happy to hear it.